to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all for coming. We have quite a bit of business to get to today, so we will get right at it. First, we have the approval of minutes from the 17th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for May 17th meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, next we have payroll. Payroll in the amount of $181,565.06. Anything unusual?
I'll make a motion.
No, everything's a normal basis on this.
I'll make a motion. We approve payroll 181,565.06.
I'll second that.
Move second to approve payroll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Then we need to acknowledge receipt of the payroll claims accounts payable report in the amount of $60,745.75.
And I make a motion to acknowledge and receive the payroll claims now $60,745.70.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, let's catch up on some signing here. I think we've got some things ready to go. You know how many people, Greg, that place would hold when it was full, when it was heyday?
You mean in the sanatorium
Yes.
era? My understanding is they had about 360 patients.
Wow.
And they had about another 250 staff. Wow. And so that 5-story building on the site,
Maybe.
the 5-story building on the site was built as staff dormitories. So there's no patients in there. It was built just to house staff. And then all the other houses and stuff on the site were for staff.
How many of the houses that are out there are you going to be able to save?
We are saving everything that's left. There was one that we had to take down, and it kind of collapsed into the basement. But all the rest of them that we're saving, anything that has any historical significance, those 3 ranch houses out there are actually kind of historically interesting in the sense they were built by U.S. Steel in 1956, or kit homes.
Really?
And the state of Indiana brought them in, set them up, but then they really went to town by putting like brick, like really professional brick on the outside.
Yeah.
And so the slab is in like perfect condition. So they're probably the nicest examples of those kit homes that exist. So.
Okay, moving on, we have claims in the amount of $239,710.16.
I make a motion to approve claims in the amount of $239,710.60.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we have a hand-type check request.
I had one that just came in the mail today from Travelers, and it's for $940.50, and it's the insurance deductible claim.
Okay.
Would you like to see it?
Nick, are you familiar with that? Any reason not to pay that?
No.
Okay. No, we don't need to see it.
I make a motion to approve the hand-type check for Travelers for $940.50.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Moving on to other Greg business. So Greg, come on up. Have a seat there if you would, so we can record every word that comes out of your mouth. So we got you nailed.
All right.
So what can we do for you? You got the military thing still coming?
Military is coming out here this week. The U.S. Special Forces is going to be there. I think they're arriving tomorrow, but they're so secretive. They always call me like 10 minutes before they get there and show up in like 8 SUVs. My understanding is that they're going to be there doing their operations Friday night.
Okay.
I am approaching you today. We've been approached by the Extreme MC Racing Series. It's an Indiana business. They have never been at the property before, but they had another county in the state cancel their event this year for, I think, COVID was when they canceled it, so they asked us to be able to host it out there. It's not something we're gonna do a lot. As the site gets better developed, we're gonna probably not run a lot of ATV races out there, but as we were walking through the woods this year, I had a crew of guys out there helping me maintain the trails, and I realized the best trails on the property were the existing ATV trails that had been there from the previous races. I was like, man, I really kind of need these guys back out here, and they happened to call the next week. So what we're asking is that on July 10th and 11th, the week, that Saturday and Sunday, that we can close East Old 36 within the boundaries of our property.
Okay. We've done that before for the restart, before they've been up there.
I think it was a small window, though.
Yes.
It wasn't the whole week.
No. It'll just be from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and only during the active racing. And so that'll be like a 75-minute period, then there'll be an hour period, 75-minute period, and an hour period. I have worked with Sheriff Cole. We are hiring 2 off-duty sheriff's deputies to be out there to help with traffic control and to make sure that there's no problems with that. And so it's our hope that anytime we have a large event, more than like a couple hundred people, we will hire sheriff deputies to help with the traffic control.
And you talked to Toomey's.
I did talk to Chrissy Toomey about it.
They're okay with it.
They're okay with it.
Justin, you okay with the plan then?
Yeah.
Is it similar to what we had before?
Yeah, I don't know if did they ever close Old 36? I remember Bridgeton,
Yeah, we did close 02
but I
too.
don't remember if they ever did Old 36.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Ambulance, of course, could get through that kind of thing.
Yeah, we are working, we're having the Belmore Volunteer Fire Department's gonna be out there the whole weekend.
Okay.
And so they'll have an ambulance out there the full time
Okay.
for the guests. One of the things that's probably different from, we're running it this time than previously, we are also in the process of, we're gonna restore the Sanatorium Dairy Barn, which is on the south side.
Great.
And so we're working to make that a public event site for Bridge Festival, for barn dances, for weddings, that kind of thing.
That's great. What a place that is.
It is an amazing building, but we're going to use those hay fields there for overflow parking. But we're also working to direct the traffic underneath the US 36 bridge.
Okay.
And so there's the bridge is much larger than the river there, and so you can walk
Plenty
under.
more room. Okay.
You can walk on the east side of the river. You can walk. We're gonna put some paving stones down there, so it's all sand right now.
Okay.
Hopefully, if we have to use the overflow parking there, we will be able to put signs up along the road so people
Walking across the road.
aren't playing Frogger on the road there.
Good. Okay.
But with that said, on Saturday night, I believe the race organizers, there's gonna be no bands, nothing after dark, except on dark on that Saturday, they hope to do fireworks.
Okay.
And so they're bringing in a fireworks provider to do that. And so at dark then, people may be leaving the facility and trying to go back to their cars. And so I work with, to have a sheriff deputy out there to just basically sit on 36 with their lights on, just so people, because I mean, people probably have been drinking beer all day or
Sure.
watch fireworks and they're not.
So it could be a fundraiser for the sheriff department? I guess
If they're walking their vehicles, they're gonna be here all day, that don't sound very good.
Like I said, no, we'll be donating to the Belmore Fire Department for their services, and we're paying the sheriff's deputies to be out there. So
You guys have any questions for him? Any concerns?
Well, one of the things with the previous race that was a concern was that, I don't remember the road, but the road that's east,
500.
yeah, which would be on the east side of Toomey's
Yes.
place. They used to get the trucks and the trailers pull in there to get back there.
I will
And
say,
then once they got back there, they couldn't turn around and they had to pull into people's yards. So we asked them to close that road, 500,
okay,
or have somebody there.
I think we'll have some.
Making sure all the trailers went down to the sanatorium road.
Yeah, that sounds.
So
We'll
that's
definitely
something you
put
may
a, we'll put a
think about.
volunteer. We'll put a.
Because
one of
once they turn on Old 36 to the west,
yeah, you can't get out of
They
there.
can't.
They create a bottleneck for the
Yeah.
trucks and trailers.
they can't turn around, so they had to go in people's yards and
So I'll make sure I have a person sitting
So
up
have
there.
somebody up there at 500 and just
500,
make sure they direct all the trailers and the
ATVs.
ATV vehicles down to your road.
The other thing that, my next door neighbor, Brenda Brown, was concerned about last time the ATVs were out there, because they are crossing the road perpendicular to the road, they don't run down the road, they're just going from one side of the property to the other, that it caused some gravel rutting. I will try to get out there with my tractor and fix it, but I mean, I don't know if the county would rather take their grader out there and do that. I don't know what the county road commissioner feels about, private maintenance of the roads.
Well, we try to discourage you just because you
Yeah.
never know what's gonna happen.
Right.
But you talk to that with them, I'm sure they'll take care of that.
Am I thinking right that did we have Nick a waiver or some sorts of county's not liable if somebody wrecks on that road crossing the road? Because we are allowing it. I don't want
Yeah.
us to be liable.
Right. They maintain, I think, $2 or $5 million of insurance on the
Yeah,
race, but they could put Park County as a name,
Yes.
as a
Yeah,
name,
once before,
named insured.
Yeah,
We just need to
we have to
certificate
do
of
that.
we'd want that and a hold harmless agreement.
Okay.
But I can type that up if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I get with you after the meeting?
Yes.
Get some contact?
You got time to stick
Yeah, I
around?
can see.
Okay. That way there's no chance of missing something here that we gotta, so you don't have a problem Saturday or something.
No, that sounds wonderful.
No surprises. Anything else?
No, other than, just, before I tell, like I say, it's, I don't know, it's you all we talked to about helping, getting some of that, well, the county still has an easement back to those hospitals. If we can get, maybe do some chip sealing on that road, we'll pay for the materials, if you guys can use your county.
Talk to Randy about that.
Okay.
Randy be the one scheduling it,
Okay.
that kind of
But
thing.
if that's something the county would be willing to do, I mean, that'd be fantastic.
We do that. I'm not sure why they schedule it. We've
Okay.
already done the chip seal that people pay for now, but we have a
Okay.
program to do that.
Okay.
So Randy be
Fantastic.
the guy to talk to get that
Okay.
set up.
All right.
And I think we do the work and he just pay for the material. But
Got
he needs to know how much material needs to be ordered. So he has a time period he does it.
I
I
got
don't
a
remember
feeling
what it
it's
is.
already been ordered. I
Think
think
so.
he's already, because last meeting he told us he was gonna start chipping.
So it may not be available this go around, but next go around we certainly could.
Thank you so much.
Okay, yes, sir. I tell you, I just want to say, for all of us, I'm thrilled you're out there. I'm thrilled you're turning that place into something that's going to be something good, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh. Like I said, everybody in Park County's been absolutely amazing. I mean,
Good.
everyone in the courthouse, everybody. DMV was probably the hardest. Trying to get the titles for all of the abandoned vehicles out
Sure.
there was probably the most challenging. I don't hold that against Park County.
Okay, good, good. All right, Roger Davies. You're all on the alcohol board too, aren't you?
Right.
And you have a meeting coming up July 7th?
Possibly.
We have a lady that's asking about a license. I got a call today about that, at the old jail.
I think there was something on the agenda.
Okay. I just told her I want to make sure it's right, because Mike thought it was. You meet at 1 o'clock in the jury room, is that correct?
That's gonna be our first meeting back.
First face to face, yeah, okay. So I was right, I want to make sure I can give you the right information on that. So 1 o'clock in the jury room on the 7th, okay. Okay, I'll shut up now.
Okay,
What you got?
but basically, I'd fill out all the paperwork in April for a zoning change of 5,000 east, 950 north, property on Sugar Creek to, change it from agriculturally zoned to what they call special exception. So I could launch, float tubes and or kayaks from that location. And I sent all my paperwork and got back all the receipts to go to the meeting on May 27th and presented it to the planning commission. Happened to be that, that meeting was to start at 5 and didn't have a quorum and waited till 20 after 5 and gentleman showed up, made the quorum for that meeting. And Amish people were there also about their cheese factory, and that all went, for mine, both of them got recommended to the zoning board, and we sat there for the zoning board, and the fellow that was late to the zoning meeting was also on or planning, he was also on the zoning committee, but unfortunately, he was the only one to show up. So therefore, it all got tabled a month out. Now, June 24th. And nature of my business, that cuts me out of one whole month of operation at the prime time.
Sure.
And the reason I'm here is I asked for the attendance record of the Board of Zoning that were the commissioners, delegates, nominees. And that meeting in May 27th, unfortunately made the third time that two of them had missed. Third meeting in a row.
Yep, that's not
So I question what their dedication to your
I would agree.
zoning board is, because if something happens to any of the others,
I would agree.
you automatically don't have a quorum at the meeting.
Right.
And
Leave that with us and we'll look at that and we'll review that.
that's my whole issue.
Well, I don't blame you a bit. I mean, we expect to do business in the county where
Yeah,
here
I
we
mean,
do
that's,
business in
I
the
mean,
county.
I'm on that zoning board, and
That's not good.
if it's on the agenda and needs to be voted on, it gets voted on at that
Yes,
meeting.
I couldn't agree more.
So that's my whole issue.
Just leave that with us. We'll look at those and see where we are.
Did you tell me that Amish have waited now for 3 meetings to get their
Yeah,
approval
but-
for that cheese factory?
But their deal, it was a little different. They had opposition at the first, and the man changed his location.
We asked him to change his
Yeah, he
location.
changed location, and now it's,
Yes.
but it still wasn't any action on his deal either. I mean, he got shifted out another month,
Yes. Yes.
so.
I mean, quorums are always difficult, but we need to have quorums. So if we
Yeah,
have people
well, I
that
mean,
can't be there, we need to
You
get
just,
different
if
people there.
you have the same people missing the same
Yes,
meetings
I
every
agree.
month, and it comes up time for a vote, you're not gonna have enough people there to vote if you have one person.
We have
What's
that,
left?
we have that issue on many boards. Some we couldn't make any changes midterm. Now we can make changes midterm if we need to. We're going to be looking at a lot of those.
I guess my other issue is waiting another whole month when it wasn't my issue. I mean, if you see what I mean,
I do see what you mean. I would like it better with me.
there
Yeah.
was.
It's costing you money. That's why you're there.
Well, there were 6 people that was eligible to be there, and there was only one.
Sounds good.
Because you have 5 plus an alderman.
Yep.
And like I said, that
And if some of those knew they weren't going to be there, why wasn't the alderman there? The alderman probably wasn't even aware that he was needed to be there.
well, that's, yeah, I mean, that's, yeah, I mean,
That's the
and
whole purpose
that's,
of having the alderman there.
and I asked Cassie about it, and she says, I'm not these adults' babysitter,
She's exactly right.
and she's exactly right.
Yes, she is.
That she shouldn't have to be making the
She
calls,
should not. I
and they had a month's notice.
can apologize for us, but it's not us. It's the
No,
people
I
just choose not
I
to
realize
come.
that, it's just
We need to make sure that people are dedicated
Yes,
to what,
we do.
if they're gonna serve.
Yeah,
Right.
we need to, we talked about this before, we need to look at that list, the attendance list on all those. We do follow it on the CVC, on the one I'm on, Convention Visitors Commission, we do watch that. If somebody misses at the end of the year, we just replace them with somebody else. That's
Yeah,
what we
well, I
do.
mean, it's just,
I always appreciate people willing to serve, but you gotta serve.
you gotta, if you're gonna be there, you gotta make
Yeah.
the meeting.
Yeah, you do.
And that's my whole issue, that there's a lot of money there, and frickin', I'm just fortunate I didn't buy liability insurance yet, because that's frickin' $15,000.
I
And that would
understand.
have been a month
Yeah.
of dead space that I had that money
Insurance
out.
with no income.
So
What do you mean?
that's my issue.
We'll see, I'm actually not on, that's what I was trying to figure out. I need to look at his list. I'm on
He's on the plan.
planning,
Planning Commission, not the Board of Zoning.
and I let them go ahead of time. I did not make it last time. On the planning meeting,
Yeah,
but
see,
I
they
was
must-
there
they
for the
must- they
first
must have
one.
your name wrong then.
I was in the first one, but I have been, actually JB was the alternate before. And I was supposed to do it for the end of the year for him until he had a heart attack, or when he had the heart issues, but then he got back and they left me on there for zoning, but they was aware that I wouldn't be at either meeting. But the 5, those 5 are the normal ones on the meeting.
Oh, we just gotta make sure they're there.
I've got a circle there, the ones that are on their third miss,
Well. yeah,
third miss
this-
in a row.
Okay. I'm not gonna read these up in public meetings and stuff.
No,
We
that's
can
fine.
take your talk.
I
I just want you to know why. I mean, I understand. And when is the next meeting?
June
24th.
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 And who's the president of the board? Planning board?
Chris
Yeah,
Chris
Chris
Marshall.
Marshall.
Chris just needs to be aware that he needs to have a quorum there, and he needs to make sure there is gonna be a quorum there.
Well, I told Roger when he called me about this, that at least in our case, I think we do a very good job of communicating with each other. If you can't be there, you let us, Dan and I know, and, or if I can't be there.
You gotta have a quorum.
They just need to be communicating
Yes, they
with
do.
each other, and
I agree.
if one can't be there, the three need to be able to be there.
When you have a month's notice, I mean,
Have a
that's
quorum,
it.
you know, so.
Well, and those are all good people, and they're all willing to serve, but
I'm
that
not
just doesn't,
questioning that.
oh, I know you got it. That's the toughest thing with volunteers, is volunteers step up, and I volunteer for lots of stuff, but there's volunteers will say they're going to get something done, but then things, life gets in the way, and I understand that, but it's gotta get done. So how do you push volunteers to go do what you gotta do? Well, the board appointments, you do, you gotta be there.
And when pretty much all them on there have jobs, and getting there at 5 o'clock's pretty tough sometimes,
It is.
especially some of the jobs some of them have.
Then they need to
I mean, I
change
got
times.
those right here, yeah.
Yeah, you
That may
change
be
times.
what they have to do.
We did that years ago, because we used to get to 9 o'clock in the morning, that wasn't gonna work when I was elected, it wasn't gonna work, I had a job, we had to change times, so they do that too.
Yeah.
Roger, I'm sorry you've been inconvenienced, I hate for your business to be hurting as a result of it, but we will work on that, and try to rectify that.
Fine, I just hope you address being able to get a quorum there when there's actually a meeting.
We got it.
Yeah,
promise
excuse.
it. We'll work on it. Yeah. You come back anytime though, it's okay.
Yeah, well, sign me a seat.
All right, Jim Adams.
Thank you. I'm just here to see about an update on Ferndale Road. I was here a couple of months ago. Commissioner and highway superintendent said they'd go out and look at the road.
I was out there just last week again. In fact, Ferndale's pretty beaten up. Rocky Fork's beaten up more. But I know that is not on the list for paving, for the community crossings grants that we get. The three of us went out with highway superintendent a month ago. Look at the roads, and as beaten up as Ferndale Road is, it's not anywhere close to the worst that we have in the county to be fixed, and we've done that process. The grant we're available to get is up to $1 million a year, and we match 20%, 25% now, I think, isn't it, or 25%, I think. Anyway, our match. So we get about, if we get the grant, which we don't get every year, because the DOT decides who gets those. So we get about $1 million. That $1 million will cover about 10 miles, almost 11. It's about $100,000 a mile. So unfortunately, we don't have funds to repave everything every year. Now, I do know in Ferndale, there weren't any holes that I saw, holes in the road. But on some of those, the paving, the patching job is about as bad as a hole, because it's higher than the road is too. So it's a bump up rather than a drop down. So I already talked with Randy about trying to get that and Rocky Fork in that area on the next go around for grants, but no promise on that, because we don't have any control over whether we get those grants or not. But I did go out there, I have seen it, and I'm aware of it.
Well, you know, the other issue was the truck route.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I went down to the bridge in front of the store and sat from 5:30 in the morning till 8 o'clock. I counted 47 vehicles going out to 59. 9 semis come through and 5 log trucks. They're just destroying it. And you guys made it a truck route 2 years ago
Right.
on it. And, you know, the
But that didn't
road,
bring the traffic, and the truck traffic was already there. We tried to eliminate it from going every place. So that was the chosen path for those truckers to get to the lumber place up the road where they're going.
well, they're gonna do another one up on
Right.
the 300E.
Right.
They take Walker after you guys
Yes, they do.
resurface.
Yeah.
And it's beginning to crumble in places because the log trucks
Yeah.
are running there.
And none of these roads were made for that kind of
just
traffic.
weren't
They
made for
just weren't made for it. So as we go through the process with the new pavings through the community crossings, and that's why we designated some for to be truck routes, to try to keep those up as best we can once we get them back up. But those roads are no way intended to be used for highway traffic like that. And that's only been the last 10 years or so, I suppose, would that be right, you think, that the highway, the traffic, the semi-traffic's increased so much? So those that we designate as truck, we're gonna try to keep up to the level where they can handle the semis. But we get a lot of business now springing up, whether they be greenhouses, sawmills, whatever they may be all over the county, and they're located on roads that aren't meant for the semi-traffic that they get. So it's gonna be a slow process getting anything majorly changed to do that, because we have other roads to take care of as well.
Well, let me ask you this. On these businesses that are being built out there, are they being built on agriculture land and not rezoned to business?
Nothing can be built that's not rezoned, so anything that's been built has been approved through the planning commission, so they all have to go through a process to do that. So it'll be the planning commission that decides if they can or not. Typically, they would get a variance, off of agriculture. I doubt very often. I used to be on that board, Dan is now,
There's very little rezoning.
rare, hardly ever rezoned.
Very few things get rezoned to commercial. There's probably a few reasons for that. One of them is you can allow a variance and change your tax rate, and we know that there's a business there. If they switch over to commercial, then the county is out of it. It's in the state's hands, so if they sell that place out there and someone else buys it and decides they're gonna put a concrete plant out there, if it's zoned commercial, the county has no more say-so, or the state does. So if someone else buys that and wants to make it change, they have to come back to the zoning and start over to get it changed to a new business. So we kind of have a little bit of control of what's out there and know what's going to be at these businesses. That's most of the time the reason for, instead of changing to commercial property, to just give a variance.
And
3 acres, 5 acres, whatever they're taking out off of the ag land.
And typically, that variance only goes with the owner who got the variance. It doesn't
Yes, it
transfer
does.
with sale.
Only one
You got, that person has to re-ask to continue that business. But nobody springs up a business without going to the plan commission, being looked at and being approved.
So is there any chance they're gonna do anything to it this year?
Patch,
Patch
That's
it,
a whole-
patch it, patch
They're
it,
gonna-
patch it.
Did you look at the overflow causeway bridge? The entrance and exit on it?
The one Randy, I asked him if he had a milling machine that fit on his skid steer because it was such an offset.
Oh,
I asked
okay.
him if he could go out there and mill that down.
and they do have a grinder.
Well, that's what I thought.
Well, there's a gap like that, you know, for the flexibility of the road and the concrete, form that it sits on it. Usually, the state usually puts a seal in there of some type, a rubber seal or something to keep, if they put blacktop in there, it's just gonna pop right back down.
Well, it depends on what kind of seats and chairs that bridge is set on. They actually make a steel piece that actually is curved, that there's I-beam set on, and it lets the impact load rock that bridge back and forth. So if you put something in there and that's hit with a big impact load, it can no longer rock back and forth.
And then right at the entrance, so Walker's, you said you went out there and looked at it, you didn't see any holes. It is so bad right there at Walker Boat Ramp and Ferndale Road, you gotta come to a stop to cross that section. Cause there's so
How
many
about the
holes.
highway?
No, at Walker Boat Ramp and Ferndale Road, right by the grocery store.
Yeah, it's, your Walker Boat Ramp Road heads north out of.
Right, and it's from where the log trucks are making that turn and they're just eating that out.
There's a Ferndale store.
Right.
This road's here.
Oh, no, I did not go
Walker
on that.
Boat Ramp.
Yeah, I did not go on that one, no. I didn't turn off for, I went down to Rocky Fork and went north from Rocky Fork.
Okay, so other than just maybe doing a little patching, that's all it's gonna be doing.
Well, it won't be a little patching, but they do patching. I mean, they tend to keep all they can.
And we can't let it, we can't afford to just let it fall completely apart. We've got to try to maintain what we can, but what Jim's trying to tell you is we don't have the money to blacktop that road this year. It's just,
If they just went down and ground it a little bit, to take all that, over the recent years it's built up, but smooth it.
is Randy gonna be here to see?
I probably would.
I will ask him
Okay,
again,
sure.
I will refresh his memory on a grinder resurfacer and find out if he does have something that he can touch on those high spots with and look at that down there, the approach to the bridge.
Okay, there is several holes through there.
I didn't look, yeah, I didn't look off of Ferndale. I didn't.
Yeah,
look off
on Ferndale Road, from where it, about an eighth of a mile east of the dam road, it goes up to the dam on it. That's all perfect. Then the eighth of a mile past that, it just turns into,
I know it's rough, yeah.
and it's rough, And the semis now, it's getting so bad for the semis that they're bearing over on the right into the ditch, running into ditch because it's so rough.
Talking Ferndale Road, Randy, after you go beyond the dam road, toward Ferndale itself, how rough that is. Have you been out there?
Yeah, I've been a couple weeks.
Okay. Anything you wanna add to where we are with that? Any plans to make that better, what we're gonna do?
Well, then we do, just keep it passed.
Okay. We will look at that for the grants, so for repaving, but like I said, we can only repave about 11 miles out of our 300 miles a year, so all we can do, so.
Okay.
You have not been forgotten. Nothing is more frustrating to any of us than roads. That's the most frustrating because we all drive.
Well, bad part of it is covered bridge comes and that road is traveled ungodly because all the city people have finally figured out how to get the back way into Mansfield
I understand. Well,
on it.
they've known it a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've known it a long
and
time.
it's just getting worse each year.
And we get, obviously, then we get accused of, we're only fixing the roads for a covered bridge festival. We don't fix anything else, which is not true either, so. All I can say is we'll do as we can. But as hard as it is to believe, Ferndale, even that section is not the worst roads that we have to fix. The ones we've chosen to fix
Yeah,
are
we spent a whole day, right?
by far the worst.
Thank you very much.
Nothing that 70 million bucks wouldn't fix. About 100,000 a mile, we'd be in business. So.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. All right. Annual report for the Secretary of Education. What is that report about where the funds go? Is that the one with the funds sitting here someplace and it's got money in it?
Congressional school.
Yeah, how much is in it?
36,844.21.
And it can't be used for anything, it's just sitting there, is that the way that works?
Used to be able to use it for loans.
Yeah.
To people, but
Yeah.
I think we do that anymore.
No.
The interest gets paid to the schools.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy.
What do you need us to do?
I need this document signed so I can send it into the
Okay.
state.
Yeah. Yeah, we accept it. I'd make that motion that we accept the annual report to the Secretary of Education on the available funds.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Okay, cover bridge certification.
This is so I have to send this report into the state on how many bridges we've got. And
Okay.
then the state turns around and reimburses us money that we put into.
How much they give us now? So it's still $12.50 or is it up?
What about it
Yeah.
now?
Randy,
Around
so much
18,000.
$18.50 now, you think?
believe it is.
On 18,000.
I think it went from 1250 up to.
Okay, so what I talk about is the state gives us so much money for each of the covered bridges that we have. And that $1,800 obviously won't do much on a bridge, but it, not all of them, you get out to work on endorsement that you can. All right, SBC portal contract.
Okay, on this SBC porter contract, this is something that I had introduced to you last fall. I've already went through the council has approved it. This is the transfer books that we are going to have them become all digital. There's also going to be a digital cabinet. The funds are already available in the platinum funds to take care of this.
Okay.
And with the COVID and everything else, they weren't able to get the book scanned yet, but they will be able to here, at the end of this month, they'll fix them up.
So the total contract is $35,232.93,
Yes,
and money is in place to cover that.
money's in place, and then
Okay.
after that, it will estimate anywhere from $500 to $600 a month.
Okay.
This is gonna be total digital, so we will have all the plat books digitalized. We're also gonna have a digital filing cabinet.
Okay.
That digital filing cabinet will be on everybody's computers. Our deduction books, they're going to be scanned in and be on a portal. So then when the girls are in there doing their deductions to get that prepared for the state, all those deductions can be pulled up. This, portal will also be used to be able to, for people to go online and file their deductions online, and everything will be stored on the portal. I'm also planning in the future, after we get everything else up and going, this will also be used for the claims and for payroll. It's just a digital filing cabinet. I'm gonna scan in all of our claims from 219 all the way to the present. And then when state board accounts come in to audit us, they can go right into that portal and pull all the claims out. It'll be faster and easier for the state board accounts for audit.
Okay. You guys have any questions on it? Is there a motion?
I make a motion we approve the contract with, I'm not sure who it is, it's IRA on here, but you've got SBC over
SBC
here,
portal.
so. But anyway, the contract with SBC portal for the scanning of the documents in the auditor's office.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Okay.
You're responsible.
Okay. All right, next up, Todd Payne. Todd Payne is a gentleman that's purchased a lot of the properties in Mansfield, and he's trying to find, as we all would like to find, a more manageable way to get the emails to his people. He's particularly concerned. As you know, we also have an ordinance now that landowners are responsible if he allows people to set up on their property they don't have a transit emergency license. That's not so complicated to me, but a lot of people just show up that day or the day before the festival starts, and they have a difficult time getting into a courthouse to get that TML. So he's hoping to find a better way to do it where he could have the TMLs, he could sell the TMLs, he could turn the money in. There's probably a way we can work that out at some point, but I know it's really challenging for the auditor right now. Shouldn't have enough people to send somebody to set at Mansfield for a week ahead of time as people show up for the TMLs. So I don't know, do you have an answer for it? How to do it now?
Right now, we're going to be, I'd like to coming up here by August, send out a letter to every vendor out there that we know that usually have people on their property to let them be aware of the ordinance. So with Todd Payne, what we could do instead of him, we could have him to go online and he could fill out the applications and do the payments online also.
So we can purchase that for them ahead of time to have that,
Yes.
and that would be a
And then
reasonable
all
thing
that
to
can
me.
be done online through through the Parke County website.
Okay.
'Cause that's where everything's located at now. The ordinance is already located on the website,
Yeah,
the applications is.
he's
and
not the first one to do this. It was clear back with Bridgeton when what's the name? Willowbrook, the Willow Rose property.
Mark Barnes.
Yeah, Bart tried to do that with his folks, and so they would like to have them in hand, be able to pass them out, but it's more complicated. That's gotta be entered into the computer, it's gotta be approved, all those kind of things too. So we can work on finding a better way, but I think that's a reasonable way to go online and you can purchase them stuff that way. You'll have them for them when they get there. Because I understand they're wanting to, gotta make sure that those people have TML. It used to be it wasn't their problem. Well, it's their problem now, and it should be their problem, because they're the ones who are setting that business up, so.
The auditor's office has a track. We have those TML has numbers on them. So we have to track if we happen to void one by accident, put something wrong on it, we void by accident, we have to track that TML and list that it was a voided one.
Right.
We track all the money, and all that money has to be accounted for and go into all the different funds. We've got 3 different funds.
For the same token, all these vendors, they do this for a living.
Yes.
We're not the
Every
only
year.
place that they have to
Yeah.
get licenses
Yes.
and jump through
Yes.
hoops to do it.
Yes.
It's not like it's the ones that sneak in at the last minute,
It
will
is.
set up and give them a few bucks,
And tell them I'll take care of it next
and the
time.
landowners are,
More than happy
yeah,
to take it.
I've got a spot there, go back in the back,
Yep.
take the money, give me
Yep.
cash.
I think now that because we weren't ever before, but now we can do it online, I don't see a problem with that. I think you can take care of all those vendors, well, the vendors can just take care of it.
Yes.
We had the late fee before because we had people who would just show up the last day and expect everybody to jump and take care of it. Well, no, you need to take care of yourself. You're in business, you need to be responsible for that. So, okay, I would just let him know, might let him know. I can call him too, if you let him know that, the online's available, here's how it works, you can go on and you don't have to prove his identity, you're just paying for a TML for that business, and that's all it is, so.
And he expressed a concern about people being on his property illegally, but as the property owner, you can have them trespassed off your property.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that burden would fall on the property owner anyway.
Yeah.
It's county and.
Don't tell me that somebody came on your property and set up business and you didn't let them do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the county can help if they call law enforcement, but it's not our burden to police private property.
And Jim, I did send a copy of the ordinance saying that it is a law or an ordinance in Parke County. You have to have a temporary food permit to operate a temporary, because it's the same thing with me. And he's by far the worst offender. I spend at least 2 days every festival getting screamed and yelled at by people who claim they didn't know they needed one, which isn't true.
No.
But to me, that should go back on the property owner. He knows it. I talk to him every year and say, make sure they have it. Before he rents them a space, he should say, do you have a food permit?
That's why we passed the ordinance.
They end up with lots of extra spots, they start getting nervous, and last minute, they'll let anybody do pretty much anything. I see it happen in Bridgeton, I've seen it happen. So,
And it just wasn't watched very well before. You just assume people are gonna do what's the right thing. We know better than that now. So we had to have some method in place to get this accomplished. Online should solve everybody's problem. There's nobody that can't take 10 minutes, go online and purchase that TML. Do they get a physical copy then mailed to them or something when they do that? Okay.
And we want it here, and we want to do it
Yeah,
online, so
absolutely.
it is,
Yeah.
the simpler we can make it for them, the
Yeah. When he
the
fills
easier
those out
it's
to
going
those
to be.
people,
But you can't play down if you do that for a living, and think you're just gonna wheel it somewhere and set up, and with that many people,
Yeah,
it
it's
shows
the
how
same thing
to
as the
fast.
state fair.
Yes, it's.
every place, there's no place that doesn't require a permit of some
Yes.
kind to do that. When he goes online and fills it out for that vendor, can it be mailed to him to give to them when they get there, or does it have to go to the address that's on the
It can be
retail
mailed to
certificate?
wherever they would like to have it mailed to.
That's what he ought to do then, just have them all bought, he buys them, send them to his place and pass them out when they get there.
Have a stack of 100 of them.
Included in his price, when he rents space, people include that in their price, and it's all taken care of. So,
That's a good idea.
so he's got a feasible way to do that.
Do that with you, or do you have to have individual?
Some owners do that, like Rob Jones usually comes up and purchases.
Could Todd buy like 100 food permits,
He
temporary
certainly,
food permits,
he needs to give
and
me,
hand them out as they come?
but he needs their information, like who
That's
they
why I
are.
said you have to have certain information on there
Yeah.
that
But
he
if-
can't it'd be
but a
hard
lot
for
of
him
them
to do
are
it.
repeat, he can certainly buy
Yeah,
a repeat.
If they're whatever, which Rob sold the biggest part of his down there, now there isn't too much he owns. Yeah,
And he can plan for
the
next year.
house and everything.
You know, when they commit to coming in next year, they can commit, they can go ahead and pay if they want to for their TML for next year, but they don't want to pay that $100, but they could. He could take care of all this, so. All right. So if you let him know that about the online, and I'll call him, let him know too about the online, and that should solve that problem. All right, ambulance, I don't think she's here, is she? Julie here?
And I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, we got some grants, and,
Do we need to sorry, back on Julie. She had
This
a
letter.
letter about Jerry Cox.
Oh,
on
yes,
his vacation.
yes, we do.
time.
Yes, we do.
Should
I didn't look at that.
$5 will expire.
and we went through this with other people before, when they were just swamped with the COVID thing, and nobody could. Sheriff's office went through it with the dispatch. Bill Cook was one, had all these hours, he had vacation, but he couldn't take it because somebody had to be there. So we made exception in those cases for people who had jobs that you had to be there. It's not fair to give up their vacation, so we just need a motion then to,
I make a motion, we reinstate the 85 hours for the ambulance driver that will expire June 29th. We take it, work it in, I guess.
I'll second that.
all in favor, say aye. Okay. Will you let her know that we
Yes.
okay that then? All right,
Now, you can go on grants.
we have three. Lydia's got one first. I asked her to come up, if she would, stop by. She has another meeting. And I was gonna get you on right away, but I didn't, did I? I sat there, let you sit, probably got a meeting coming up in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So what you got?
I think I submitted 2 I don't really remember whether they even sent a contract for that mass vaccination. If you held it, they automatically sent you the money. We qualified based on population, so it was $5,100 and some odd dollars. Just found out in the last 2 weeks that that has to be spent by the end of June. So Tanya and I and the board talked about maybe trying to get a small trailer, like a Detro trailer, and use it for that, and then it could be used for pop-up vaccine clinics or just shot clinics, if Tanya wants to do some back-to-school clinics, something like that.
As far as I'm concerned, that's a health board decision, because the money's in place, nothing special for that, the grant money, you're one user for that. So I'm okay with that, you guys have any questions?
I'm perfectly fine with it. You would know more what needs done with it than we would.
God make the motion that we approve the grant request to purchase a trailer by the health board.
And I'll second that.
Bruce, any questions on it? All in favor, say aye. Okay,
And then you doctor son.
what else?
The second one is the continuation of the vaccine clinic. I got the contract today, so pending your approval, we'll sign it and send it in. It's for $34,000 something through June of 2022. But we will also start getting reimbursement, and I didn't bring it, I can email it to you, broken down. They are billing insurance, anybody that has insurance, an administrative fee when they get vaccinated, and we get X amount per 2 vaccines, and there's one amount prior to March 15th and another amount after that. I'll send you that chart. So that is going to come to the health department. They haven't given us specifics on what it can be used for. We know it's for continuation of the vaccine clinic. They haven't broken down what else.
Okay.
So if you're good with that, I'll sign that.
Okay, you guys? When I met with Julie, is it Tanya or Tanya? How do you say it? Tanya, okay. I was thinking Tanya Tucker. Okay. They have a good plan of how to do the drive-through, and they had a way to bring the road to the back door of the ambulance service, actually the side door, but it's over on that street, wherever that street is. But there were a couple of trees need to come down to make a drive-through there without driving over the manhole. The town of Rockville says we can straddle it and get as close to it as you want to, you just can't drive on top because it's got the automatic cinder on top to go out, so want to avoid that. And Randy came down and looked at it, and they're going to take the trees out and put gravel through there and make a place where people can call, pull up, and get the vaccine and have a drive up. Trees are out. Trees are out?
They came down.
Great. Great, okay, I appreciate that.
Are they going to want any kind of a fee for us using that ambulance service?
Is the ambulance service going to want a fee? I've not been aware of
Okay.
any request.
The,
Are there funds available for that?
well, it's gonna come out of that money, so, there might be some, I don't know, like I said, this is supposed to run for another year,
Yeah.
basically.
Our position with the COVID, as you've been on that working group, has always been that the county needs to do whatever the county needs to do to make our people as safe as we possibly can. But there are lots of pots of money out there. We've got to make sure that we access all those pots of money to
Right.
bring that money into the county and use the where it can best be used.
So it's not that I have an issue, but the problem is, like, with the money that had to go to the fair board, they're balking because there wasn't a memorandum of understanding or a contract in place before we started, and they don't like to submit something post-fact.
Well, we just had to work that out because everything was covered by that working group, and so everything that was agreed upon was what was going to happen. If there hadn't been something in place, then we need to make sure we.
And I knew there'd been talk, but I never even knew anything about it, and it was already paid, and it went out of the wrong account.
Oh.
So since that's in my name, the state's honking at me about coming back on me, so.
Well, let's figure that out. Tell us what you need, what needs to be done.
Yeah, invoices just need to come to me first. And
Okay.
it all needs to be in place beforehand.
Okay. Okay.
But if they tell us what that insurance money can be used for, then we can probably work something.
And I have a meeting on the 10th. We have a meeting actually on the 10th about how this, what's it called? The Relief America Relief, whatever it's called. Just how that money can be spent, 3.8 million, how it can be spent. So if we have other needs in in order to enhance. The worst part, the part that always bothers me is we still have people, and you have some of your board, I know that, well, Parke County doesn't need to be doing that, they can do it, some other county get that, and I'm absolutely opposed to that. I think we need to do whatever we can for people, and I know a lot of people come from outside the county, come here to get their stuff, that's okay, as long as we're taking care of our people in the same process, that's what we're here for.
I'm still waiting on the test information. One woman from the state says she's fairly certain, since we're doing it and we have an interest in continuing, that we will be able to, but have not heard from
Okay.
the big cheese.
I just hope we all work together to get that up and running as best as we possibly can, to serve our people as best we can, and I know there'll be outsiders come and use it, that's okay.
If they need it, then they need it.
Because the other choice is we send our people and become outsiders some other county, so I'd rather we have to do it right here for our folks, as long as we can afford to do that. Thanks, Liz, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, get your meeting ready.
I'm going.
Chris O'Brien. Chris also has a request that he's got bids on, he sent it, he did, I think. Yeah.
So there were two bids. The first one was for the grant to convert our GIS data into an NG 911 standard. I recommend we go with WTH Technologies. The other two companies were good, and although WTH wasn't the cheapest, it was by far the best when you look at long-term wise. If there's something wrong with it, we can always call them and say.
It will always be that to you as long as Nick's okay with it.
I looked at all of that, I didn't have any
Then
issue
I
with
make a
any of
motion
the
that
three.
we approve the contract for the conversion of the data to WTH per the director's request.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay.
The next one is this is a state Homeland Security grant that we received to buy cameras and stuff. And so these mobile camera trailers, we're buying 3 of them. And I recommend we go with the IVC, the Industrial Video and Control Company. The 3 trailers that they had, there's no cost to the county because it's all 100% reimbursable from the state. These cameras had the best quality when it came to cameras and some of the connectivity equipment. Also, also the service. I was able to find somebody who knew how to use these cameras and then the systems that are the Wi-Fi systems. And he's a local person. He's already worked with the sheriff's department on some of their camera stuff. And so that's why I chose that company.
And we think maybe we use this at the recycling, one of them at the recycling place when we're not using them other things. So there's all kinds of possibilities for those.
So I wondered what it was going to be used for.
Originally, it's termed under anti-terrorism, in which to help protect soft targets. In this case, it was the Covered Bridge Festival. The general plan was that we have 3 of them. We put one up in Rockville, one down in Bridgeton, and one in Mansfield. And that way, you'd be able to you have video of what's going on. So one, if there was an investigation, anything from counterfeiters to people doing all kinds of stuff, it would help the detective having video footage of what was going on. The other thing it's going to help is help those individuals, first responders, go and see exactly what's happening. We should be able to work this out where we can view that at the different stations, the little outlets that we have set up at the different areas, and also in the dispatch. So it's going to add some clarity to what's going on in the situation.
Is this a tower cam that you're talking about?
It is a tower cam, yeah.
Is it a 360?
Yes. There's going to be 3 cameras on it. There's going to be a 360 camera and 2-point to zoom. They're solar powered, so you don't have to. It makes them cheaper because you don't have a generator. They should
be
last.
stored in it,
Yes.
and it can be sent Wi-Fi to the company if we would choose to go that service sometime, which we can or can't. We always have it anyway.
Okay, I'm following.
What's the number of that unit again? Letters IVC or whatever?
Yeah, IVC.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the IVC camera setup.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Okay, and those are all monies in place, so that's all grant.
Yeah.
Money, so.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, accounts payable, ACH.
Yes, my new accounts payable person would like to see if it would be possible to have the following for the gas company, the credit card, the tray service, the copier, AT&T, Bloomingdale Telephone, Town of Rockville, Wells Fargo, MasterCard, and Vectren. These are just some of the ones that are paid on a monthly basis through your claims.
Right, now you're talking about you still electronically.
Yeah, she wants to be able to see if we can't do them ACH.
You guys
So
have
the
any reason
payments
not to
get
do them
sent
that way?
quicker.
Do we need paper trail?
I can't answer the question. I've been out too long. Nick is gonna have to answer. I don't know if the laws have changed to allow for this. When I was there, you couldn't do
You gotta have a
this.
check.
You
That's
had to
what
have a check.
back of my head screaming, you have to have a check, but I think we need
I've
to
been out
look.
for a
I
while.
know Putnam County has changed all theirs over to ACH. but I think
That
we
doesn't
have to
mean
have-
they're right, though.
But I think we have to have a resolution or something to do that. We already have Culligan done like that.
You've got,
You wanna look at it?
I can research it,
look
but
at it.
I'd
You've
feel
got-
more comfortable you guys not approving it until we do at least
yeah, I don't think
research
we'll
it.
approve it tonight, but you've got staff coming in doing audits here before long.
Tomorrow,
You know who's coming? It doesn't matter. Is it Melissa Griffin? Is she?
no, I don't believe, maybe with them.
You think they might know
But
the answer to that?
Yeah.
Guys names I've never seen before
Okay.
will be there.
Well, my thinking is ask the board of accounts if they're allowing this, because like Nick said, just because Putnam County did it, doesn't mean they're right, okay? I saw all the years, and I'm sure Jim's seen it, but the point being is, check with the board of accounts, people who will be coming in very soon, and just ask them, is this a new law, or is this a new development that the board of accounts has approved? So I've just been out too long, I've lost track of what they allow and what they don't, and what the laws have changed. I don't look at the laws like I used to, but I can tell you when I was there, there's no way this could have been done.
And probably as long as they can produce a log of what was paid, that's probably the same as having a check, but like you said, who knows how it's.
Right, I mean, I can't speak to the last year, but in some time since I got involved in municipal law, I've seen where it's not allowed. So I'd wanna see where it is allowed before you guys take that lead.
All right, well, let's just table it then until next time.
Sounds good.
Okay. And the auditor.
It's just like you and I, everybody, not everybody, I don't do electronic banking, but many people pay their bills electronically.
I do.
On their computer, they don't write checks anymore. And so this just goes to flow with what we do personally, or a lot of people do personally. It's just, again, with government, with that paper trail and the responsibility to the taxpayers. If someone would come in and say, prove to me you did this or that, you don't have a check, you don't have any.
We do already have the resolution set up to do Culligan. We've been doing Culligan for a long time through ACH. It's paid, that's the only one that's been paid monthly.
Yeah, a separate account where I pull up the log, it could show where each check is there, and you pull up the photograph of the check, all that. But like I see, the auditor being okay with that, but right now, it's all
We have
mixed
the
with all this.
register of the ACH, because we do a monthly.
Right.
The monthly, distribution of the lit, that goes through the ACH to all your township trustees and all that. And we have a list of all that.
Payroll, you don't write checks for payroll anymore. So there's even stuff that you are doing. I'm just not familiar, again, I don't keep up with it enough like I used to,
That's
so double check with the staff, let Nick do some research.
Anything else on your report?
The ARP grant has been, I've applied for that, for the money. When I went to this, they had a state board of accounts, with all the auditors. And during that meeting, they were notifying us how to go in there and apply for that money. And the audit, that all has to be done through the auditor. Probably 75% of the auditors have already done it, so I went in and I've got ours applied for. There's a lot of red tape, you have to go into US Treasure. I had to give them my driver's license, my social security number and all. And
How much is the grant?
$3.5 million.
Wow. Okay.
That's for that ARP.
Okay.
But there's a lot of steps that the auditor has to do before the county can even begin the process. Right now I'm doing the settlement. It has already been sent to the state, and I've been checking my email all day. I'm waiting for approval. As soon as I get that approval, that money will be moved out the door real quick.
Okay.
And starting as of tomorrow, the State Board of Accounts will be coming in and doing our audit for 19 and 20.
Okay. Anything, questions for the auditor, guys? Okay, I have a couple things here, in new business before we move on to old business. I would like, I got a call about a property, I think it's 100 North. John Frazier, is that his house on 100 North, where Purples are out there, is that 100 North? Where you go up Cook Road and turn left, is that 100?
That is 100. I'm
Okay.
not sure where he lives.
That is it then. So, 100 South, okay. I drove out there and there's stuff cleared out by the edge of the road. In fact, that big piece of equipment, you couldn't get by a couple of those, trailer tops there. Yeah, he just brought in it's just a lot of stuff. So I think we need to have, plan commission, Cassie, go see violations. She may want an escort to do that, if you can take care of that, to go out there
I
and
think
do
she's
that.
had some issues.
I was gonna say, I think her and the court, when they were supervising them on a
Yeah.
probation thing.
It's an awful mess out there now.
Yeah.
If you've been out
Oh,
there,
yeah.
it's awful. So it needs to be rectified as quickly as can. So I would make the motion that we authorize the plan commission to proceed, with the cleanup effort, on that property, on 100.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
So I'll let Cassie know we need to move on that unless that's something you want to do. I mean, you're involved in it already, sounds like, so whatever.
I can.
If not,
We're in a legal process with mail out forfeiture for the property. I just don't know.
So is it Frazier or is it Purples?
Purples.
So we're already in court with them on ordinance violations on their properties.
Okay, good.
So do we let that play out then?
Well, I mean, if it's a different property, I guess I'd
Same
coordinate
property,
with
different
Cassie.
stuff.
All right, I'd probably run it through Cassie then just to make
Okay.
sure we're not duplicating.
Okay.
Uh,
This is coming in the last month or so, I
Okay.
suppose. Got trailers right out at the edge of the road. It's in our right of way.
There were some issues in the court proceedings from them also, so she ought to take somebody with her.
Okay, so, yeah, if Justin take care of that then. We have road commission meeting in the morning, and that'll be here at 8:00. And obviously, we're not making any decisions, I mean, that's just an information gathering meeting. But we may come up with a consensus of some requests to make at some point to the council, and I'd like to do that before the next council meeting. Would you guys be available to have a special commissioners meeting prior to, the council meeting, either the same day or a different day? I don't know what your schedule
I'm not
looks like.
opposed to it. I'll work it in. That's what has to be done.
Do you have any time,
When's
Bruce?
our meeting?
They meet the second Thursday, is that correct?
This Thursday, the
Third.
10th.
The 10th.
Yeah.
I gotta be in Muncie in the evening, but I'm available earlier in the day on the 10th.
My 10th is pretty full, let me think here. What I got.
What about tomorrow after?
I don't know how much notice we have to give for special meetings.
As long as you give them notice at the time when it's planned, I think you're okay.
Okay.
So, we'd want to give notice immediately
Okay.
of it.
Then let's plan that after our meeting tomorrow morning, you got time?
Yes.
You got time tomorrow? All right, then I want to call a special meeting then at the adjournment of the road commission meeting in the morning, and that should, our start time should be approximately 9:00.
5 o'clock is what I would assume.
Okay.
So Laura, you'll want to
So,
send
I
a,
need to get me take notes.
on a special meeting? Yeah, somebody have to take notes. We need to send a formal advisement to whoever you normally notify for our meetings that there's going to be a special meeting, and we also need to post it at the door.
And we don't have to have that for the commission meeting because that's not any decision being made, that's just information gathering. But a special meeting, we may have, and we may cancel that if we don't come up with a consensus, or we don't have anything to propose, we can cancel that, but we need to have it announced, so we could have it if we need to have it, so.
So it's
What time
done
we
at
have
9:00 tomorrow morning.
9 o'clock.
that way if it has to go to the.
And I needed to send it out to all the council members and who else?
The media, whoever you normally notify media-wise.
I can do that right after this meeting.
Okay, that'd be great, thanks.
Now, the road commission, we're meeting at 8 o'clock.
8:00, right.
9 o'clock would be the commissioner's special meeting, if
Anything to happen.
Normally, you'd have to give them 48 hours notice, but since it's kind of an emergency
Yeah,
basis
yeah.
to get something done prior to,
Council meeting.
as long as you give them notice at the time you're becoming aware of it.
Okay, I had a request, from the company doing the county and town auction coming up. Is that this weekend, coming weekend?
Saturday, yeah. David Hayes or Hayes Auctioneer.
They've asked to put a big sign, a 4x8 sign in the yard of the courthouse. We don't let people do that, individuals, but this is a county auction, a town auction, so is there a reason not allowed to do that? Main Street do that on their county-wide things that they do?
Is this advertisement for the week, or is this just the day they're having the auction? What are we talking about here?
He'll put it up probably as soon as he can. and take it down.
Yeah, I would assume probably by tomorrow, if it's approved, I would guess.
And this is for county properties, it's going in town
Yeah.
properties, it is to be sold.
It's a joint auction between the two.
So
Where they
will the
having that
auction be
at?
held at?
Just down by the town utilities, surround the police department, fire department, the utility building. Just kind of south of
Okay.
here.
My next question is this just a standard sign advertising for him, or is this advertising for that sale and where it will be?
I think that sale and where it's,
I have no
the
problem,
time and the
I have no
location.
problem with that, if he's just using it for general advertisement.
No, it's just for the auction.
Yeah, I have no problem if it's for the auction, it's benefiting the county and the town.
You okay with that, Bruce? Then I make that motion that we allow the auctioneer to post a site and time specific sign on the courthouse square up until the auction.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Okay. Purpose taken care of. All right, I think that's all the rest I got except for Randy, so.
I got two things if you got us.
I got, yeah, what you got?
So we've talked about amending the ordinance as far as the labeling on vehicles. We had one where we were doing it for solicitation for construction, revamping, that kind of stuff. And I was asked to draft one that would address common carriers or parcel delivery, because there's been a lot of crime going around where they're coming out pretending to be, or maybe even are contracted with a parcel delivery system. And then they come back later and they're robbing people or stealing things. So this would address that. It just requires that a common carrier, in addition to what we'd previously passed, would have to have labeling on their vehicles or somebody contracted by them.
I had a plain white, beat up, rusty old trailer come, delivered a FedEx package to me the other day.
So, I mean, they could simply just
Yeah.
post something on the side of their yard that says FedEx, or on their vehicle says FedEx and a phone number or whatever.
Magnetic sign or then-
But it at least gives people a heads up as to what it is, because there's been some crime. I don't know about locally, Justin might know, but throughout
I
the
had no clue
state.
till the guy got out. They weren't even in uniform, just in
Right.
regular clothes. He brought this FedEx package.
So this would give law enforcement an ability to.
a package? Yeah, it's a FedEx package.
I had no beat up,
They're
rusted out van.
That's what this was. It said they were hiring anybody to deliver stuff. They're so far behind.
Yeah. And so, like he said, you could put a magnet on there, or, some type of adhesive, whatever.
Which
But
you could anyway, but at least you'd have something to go by.
right, it gives law enforcement the ability to at least investigate and see if they violated our ordinance or
So
not.
what do you need from us?
If you're in agreement, just a motion to amend that ordinance. I had it as 2021
I have
-1.
those already looked at.
Well, if you're okay with it.
2021-1 is what the original one was. This would be 1A. At least that's what my records look like as far as the original.
Section
1A.
Those are easy commercial
Yeah.
parcel delivery.
Yeah.
So we had already talked about those in construction.
Right.
Yeah.
We just kind of put a
I just added the commercial parcel delivery or common carriers language to it.
If you want me to do it.
But yeah, I would motion to approve ordinance 2021-1A, which amends our previous ordinance on the vehicle requirement.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
So that's the same day, same meeting too.
Okay.
And then we gotta publish that.
You got one you want me to sign?
That one, that's the only one I got, yeah.
And these published.
It has to be published because it's not active for 30 days, so till after we publish. But it give law enforcement the ability to investigate a little easier on things and, kind of hold them
Well, and
accountable.
also homeowners, when they
Right.
wonder if somebody's legit or not.
Right, I mean, I've had that. They pulled up in my front driveway and the dogs are barking and you look out the window and this,
Nothing. What is
it's like, well,
This guy was scared looking. Of course, I get that feeling when I look at the mirror.
and so the other thing I had was a resolution assigning tax sale parcels to the redevelopment commission. You may remember earlier in the year we had done that, but the title company's title search didn't come back timely. And so we missed our deadline on noticing. So this would just be reassigning the same parcels, and they're attached to Exhibit A here. But it starts the process over for us to send them to redevelopment. Redevelopment has got buyers lined up for the parcels. So that'd just be a resolution, and I don't know what the original resolution
I
number
was gonna
was.
say, well, this would be a new resolution.
It's a new
because
resolution.
We really are not amending or doing anything to
No.
the original one's
It
expired.
failed.
so
Yeah,
this
it
is
has
a new
failed
one.
by
What's
operation
our
of
next
law.
resolution?
Our next one's 05.
05? Okay.
So this would just be reassigning them, but the first one is failed by operation of law because the time requirement. So this is just new.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2021-5, which assigns tax sale certificates to the redevelopment commission.
I'll second that.
All those fair say aye.
Aye.
Do you need that back?
No, I'll get it from Laura.
Okay.
She's usually pretty good about emailing me those kind of things.
I should have signed it before.
Yes, you
I thought it was coming back this
What are
way.
you thinking?
I
It
know
will.
it. It was coming back this way.
So that'll make SRI have to reissue those tax sale certificates, Laura.
Okay,
We've crossed out the ones we had a problem with before, so it shouldn't be an issue.
is that it for you?
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
You guys got any old business?
I lied to you.
Okay,
Oh, right, he's got one.
I did have one other thing. We had a former employee for the park where we had some issues. I just wanted to let you know that I've cleared that up. I've talked to her attorney. There's no litigation. Everything appears to be resolved. That was the only other thing I had.
Jim's been giving you a rough time.
it's an old, it's an agency of discrimination, so I qualify for that, so. Kind of old people are, it's in my case. Justin, you're up. Finally, you're thinking, finally.
I was gonna say, I should be brief. I
You
hope.
about walked out twice.
71 in jail currently, 4 of them are Department of Correction inmates. We billed about 2,000 for May for out of county and DOC holding. 72,378 for the year so far. And last week or 2 weeks ago, we got notified of our USDA grant that we put a request in for. We got that, it's about 15 grand.
Great.
So that'll help purchase one new car. This year it'll be a 2022 Tahoe, and then I think we're gonna buy one with commissary money, so we'll have two for the end of the year. It'll be September, October, November probably before we can get those, so.
To fully interrupt you, because you're on a roll here. What kind of things do we have available at this auction that we're selling?
Firearms and one, I don't remember, I don't know if it's a 2012 or 2013 Dodge Charger. But it's a civilian version, it was a forfeiture car we got.
Okay.
And by law, you can use them for 3 years and then you have to sell them, but we used it as a school resource car.
Gotcha. Firearm sales, how's that work as far as background checks and stuff? How does that work?
We just kind of got in like on the tail end of Rockville was planning one anyway, the town and the police department, street department. But they're having a firearms dealer that will be there to do that.
Okay, so if I come in and I get the high bid on a revolver of some kind, I have to wait to get it, or
There's
can
a
you do it
crime
instantly?
for felons in possession, Jim.
But
You won't get it immediately. I think there'll be like a certain amount of hold period on it would be my thought on it.
the one we did a couple months ago, we had a firearms dealer on site and he ran everything then. Now there's about an hour wait,
Okay.
but most of the people waited to go through that. I think that's the way it's gonna be again for this one, but
Have you picked up that many more, or why did they not get sold at the?
there's a few that we ended up with since the last auction, but some of them we just could never ever get to. We had I think we sold like 180 a month or two ago.
Really?
And we just couldn't get to all of them to get them ready and listed.
How long does it take to get 180 weapons?
Well, we had a lot more than that, but the laws have changed over the years. A lot of people were getting their criminal records wiped out because they hadn't been in trouble for X number of years. So they were felons before where they couldn't have them. Now they have no criminal history or record. So now they could get them. So we had to give a lot of guns back.
Then you had several years worth, because.
Oh, yeah, we never ever had a gun auction that I
Yeah,
remember in
Got rid of cars.
22 or 23 years since I've been around.
Wow.
So the statute, if they're allowed legally to have them, requires you to try to at least give them back if they can legally have them. But if they can't legally possess it, then you're able to sell it. Or if you can't find them.
All right. That it?
Let's see.
Man, all that time you waited for that.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
You're happy with the lighting agreement we have out there? Everything
Oh, yeah,
okay
yeah.
for you? You happy with that? Okay, good.
Yeah, haven't had any issues with anything yet, so.
Okay. Have you had any, them have to come back and make any repairs or replacements or anything?
Not yet.
Okay, I'm just curious, when that does come, how quick they are, 'cause they brag about how, that was one of their sales points, how quickly their guys in Crawfordsville, at least was at the time anyway. I'm curious on the response time with you.
And if we had like a bulb and, you know, the admin there or something like that, we'll probably do it ourselves. But yeah, if it's like a parking lot light or one of them in one of the bigger blocks where it's 30 foot up in the air, then we'll definitely call them, so. But yeah, so far, nothing yet.
We need to come and do a evaluation on the bills and see how the bills look, if we are saving the money, we'll probably be saving on that. See how that goes. All right, thanks, sir.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Have a good evening, Jess.
Finally, Randy, the last on the list.
How you doing this evening?
We're doing good. Thanks for being available tomorrow, appreciate it.
Yeah. First thing I have a claim for VS Engineering for bridge inspection in the amount of $6,907.62.
Your motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the out-of-cycle check for Randy for, was it out-of-cycle check?
Yeah.
For $6,907.62 for bridge inspection at VS Engineering.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Well, I guess you seconded that.
Second,
You were shaking your head, yeah.
Do you guys need me for anything, or you care if I run to the town meeting?
Sure. See you.
Thank you.
Can you take this with you?
Yeah.
You can get back this later. They did not accept the one we done, because it's 100% veteran.
Oh, okay. So it's a little different.
Call me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you
Just
available-
call me, it's not pertaining
Are you
to you.
available tomorrow morning now? Are you available to be here for that? I don't know that we need you here, I just didn't know if you were planning on being here.
I hadn't back in, probably. Let me look.
Or if you want to be in town, we can let you know if we have a question, need something. Don't want to be bothered.
Or we can send you a text if we have.
Yeah, if you need something, I'll be over at the office, so I can come over if you
Don't worry.
need something.
You can come, or we can just wait till we text you, whichever way you want to do it.
I'll probably wait on your text.
Okay.
I can be useful in
something.
other ways.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man. Keep the town in mind.
Apologize for me not being there.
Oh, well, I'm sure they miss you.
I bet they do.
This is an agreement for the closure of 59 for them to use 900 south, 775 east.
Okay.
And 720 south. Need your signature.
Okay.
Is that something new?
720, that's south of the covered bridge.
Yeah, south of Mansfield.
Yes.
The-
No, not the Mansfield Bridge, the one over at Mason's, that comes in right south of there. 720.
Oh,
They're going east or west?
no, it's 459 closure.
I understand.
And
Is it
the
east side
unofficial
road
de-
or west side?
Be the east side.
Okay.
The unofficial detour was 900 south and 775 east and 720 south.
Okay.
Grant you, there's people used the other way too, but
Yeah, that.
that was,
Yeah, but the only thing I was thinking about, going the other way, if they miss a turn, they're right there through that bridge, covered bridge. So basically the roads we was on
yeah,
the other day, 900, and we was talking about redoing in that little one, I had this question about.
775.
All right.
Is this for the closure they have now, or the one coming up?
No, the one they have now.
Okay, I thought it was. And,
See, we had 3 weeks for your meeting, so
yeah,
and we've
when,
been holding it.
when they, we're gonna be done with that?
I thought this month sometime.
I thought it was like today or tomorrow, but maybe
Yeah, the
not.
signs are still up today.
Okay, somebody asked.
I just had a meeting today with, this morning,
I was saying,
Brad Thompson, and he told me there's a possibility it might be 2 to 3 more weeks.
oh, really? Okay. All right, so we need to sign this.
Yeah.
So I make the motion, we accept the agreement with NDOT as far as a unofficial detour for the repairs on the large culvert on 59.
I'll second
All in favor, say aye.
Is the one I'm going to be closed until August 22nd?
No, that'll be the bridge, I
Bridge.
think, yeah.
Yeah, there's.
Big one be one lane, I think. Will be, have a,
Yes, they are
Traffic
gonna have
light
a
on.
traffic signal on that, yes, they are, that's gonna stay open. Did you happen to bring those numbers with you for,
yeah, I brought one copy.
great, I'll make copies for everybody for tomorrow.
No, I've got copies
You got copies,
for
okay, good.
everybody.
Oh, good, okay, I like to take one home, please, right,
The lower half of the test.
put it together.
Pay attention, Randy. So-
No, no, thank
I
you.
didn't see his place where.
Do you wanna test it? Do you wanna test it?
Yeah, just
Right
since
around.
they
Okay.
signed it.
And this one is for the reimbursement for 41, the unofficial detour, which is 1,000 north, Carpenter Road, and 1,200 north.
Okay.
We've already sent that in for reimbursement,
How much was it?
$7,699.48. 3 places.
Okay.
Nope, I paid to you, Jim, I didn't bring a copy of that with me.
Okay.
Copy of which.
I asked him to get together all the county highway pay scales around the surrounding counties. Can you pick one up on your way home and drop it off at my house or in my mailbox? It'll be fine, or at the house, whatever works for you.
Oh, you're out of the house.
We're about done, I couldn't even follow you there, we're about done. Julie did call and ask about that manhole, and he said you could drive right up to the edge of it,
Okay.
behind the place, but just can't drive over because the sending unit on it.
Yeah,
So if we can go the other way, we
I
get it.
thought somebody told me they was gonna move it.
Really?
That's what somebody told me.
Well, whatever you gotta figure out there,
Well, I
I
think
appreciate
Tim
you
did.
to do that.
He cut the trees down, I think. Tim said they was gonna move it. Somebody at the General Service told him that.
Okay.
That'd be best, because we'll have to put gravel around that thing.
Yeah.
And somebody.
Or off the edge of it. We go
Yeah,
off the
somebody
edge.
around.
Yeah. Well, we'll put something there.
Okay. Appreciate
A
you.
couple of them
Getting this
crossing
set
that
up.
post.
I always find it interesting at these meetings, all these signing that. Just the variety of issues that we deal with in passing of every meeting is just stuff.
Laura, they get.
Nope.
I think maybe on the next page,
Oh, the
she
next
has to
It says
sign.
clerk
the next
treasurer, LPA auditor. Go to look at this, if you sign, place in the back. 3 more pages there, a couple of them. LPA, what's that?
That's us. Must be her.
Okay, you're on the first page there, bottom.
First page.
Yeah, it says clerk or LPA auditor.
Local public agency.
Not sure I've heard that before.
That's all I have, unless you guys have something to say.
I got a question for you. I'm gonna throw you a curve. I'll pick your brain. Can you tell me how many mile road is in, gravel road is in each township?
No, I can't right off the top of my head, but I can get that.
You can come up with each township, how many mile gravel roads in each one?
Can, yes.
I'm curious.
Okay.
That's what he's waiting on, because it's all he had left.
All right, thanks, Randy.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Have a good evening.
Okay, you too.
Anything for the public? Is there a motion to, oh, yes.
Tanya.
I gave her some papers, just an update on what's been going on.
Oh, okay.
Laura handed it out.
A lot of it's just investigation stuff that I do on a daily basis, but
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that the COVID vaccine clinic has moved to EMS as of last week. I've been doing out of their training room right now, and then we were gracious enough to come out to help brainstorm some ideas to get those trees moved and do like a drive-through. I think it'll work. And my goal is to do both the vaccines and the testing whenever those contracts expire. I volunteered to just kind of take on both of them because I like them both to continue to be offered.
Great.
I've had a lot of people call, not come, asking they really need testing to continue for traveling. Foreign exchange students, I've had many of those call. They can't really get rapid testing done. Many other places are kind of shutting them down. So I'm excited if I can get to that point to be able to continue that. We've done very close to 7,000 shots. 33.7% are 12 and older for Parke County residents.
Was that 37?
33.7.
33.
And that's only 12 and over.
Okay, and that's Park County only.
Parke County only.
It's,
That's
this
kind of, that's behind,
This
that's
does not-
behind the state average.
does not reflect on the out of county people that come.
Total, we've done 6,968. Of that, we've done 4,900 for Parke County residents.
Okay.
So we've done 2,068 out of county.
Okay. It's-
I have a question. I mean, I know what histoplasmosis is. I'm surprised that's still a problem.
Yeah.
Is that still from bird dropping? Is that where that's been with chickens? Is that people who at the chicken farms? Is that where the problem's coming from?
Yeah, one had
Really?
chickens next door, the other one was military, had traveled to a lot of different countries, and they
Okay.
think it was chronic and no concern.
And is histoplasmosis easily treatable now? Is that?
Well, they don't require treatment sometimes.
Oh, good, okay.
because
And the one I never heard of in my life is Yersiniosis intercolytica. What is that?
That sounds like a Harry Potter spell.
Yeah,
It's bacterial diarrhea.
okay. Wow.
But yeah.
Yersiniosis intercolytica.
Yeah, I had never heard of it. Dr. Swyman never heard of it. We had to look it up, and
Wow.
yeah, it was for him not to hear about it. That floored me, but yeah.
Okay.
But nothing of concern.
I'm just curious, because we never had reports like this before. I'm thrilled to get these, so I appreciate this. Latent tuberculosis, is that a common thing that people have tuberculosis flare up on? Is that?
Well, it's pretty common. It's not something that the state used to require for people to track. It's fairly new, and a lot of places aren't even aware that they need to be reporting it to the health department. So just this year, my cases have kind of ramped up a little bit, and a lot of them don't require treatment. I just have to monitor, make sure they get follow-up testing to make sure that they don't need treatment.
Okay.
And then if they refuse treatment, I have to follow up with them to make sure that they don't go into active TB.
Now, I know the early COVID things, that virus was designed to attack the ACE inhibitors in the lungs, and that's what the problem was in the lungs. Are we seeing any unknown respiratory things now, like we did in the beginning of the COVID thing, when we really didn't know what the respiratory problems were that people were getting, then they identified it? Are we seeing any continuing respiratory problems, numbers outside of the usual normal kind of respiratory things?
I'm not having any.
Okay, so maybe we're getting okay on that then. Hope so. Well, I appreciate you being there. I think it's great. I think it's great to have an active county nurse and
watching
Keep it up.
closely because on the back, next month is when we started increasing our number in cases. So if anything's gonna say whether or not we're doing a good job, it's gonna be in the next couple months.
Right.
So fingers crossed.
Yep, let's hope it does. Hope that goes the opposite way the other one is.
And I'm working on the revenue opportunities.
And that is really significant. I mean, I know I want you full-time every day, all the time, so that, those revenue streams are gonna be so important to get that taken care of.
Is there anything that you guys can think that
Nope.
you would like to see offered in the county by a health department? I'm
I,
gonna do CPR, TB, skin test certifications, anything the state will fund and provide for me to do for free for the county, I wanna get it, period, just be able to offer it.
see, that's a change in attitude that I am thrilled with that we have. For my lifetime, these guys, I'm sure, have seen the same thing, even when there were funds available to do things. I can give an example. A few years ago, we had a guy who was an intern in nursing at ISU, and they could have come and done a vaccine clinic at no cost to the county, but those people making those decisions didn't want to be bothered with it, so it didn't happen. Even though the funds were there, it wasn't going to cost them anything, they just didn't want to be bothered. And that bothers me that we're not offering services to our people that we could have available. Now I think it's changed the other way. That's why I'm so excited that we're interested in keeping the vaccine going and the testing clinic going. Those are services we can provide for our people, and they're paid for by funds not our residential tax dollars obviously, but it comes from grants. And I'm thrilled that we're offering all the things we can, and I don't think that would happen if the people involved in that working group were involved. I appreciate your interest in all that stuff, so thanks.
Thank you.
You guys got anything?
I don't, next time.
It's only like 20:06, I got another half hour, so if you guys want to talk.